I'm very like Bowie, and you're very like
Freddie.
Freddie Mercury, because I'm sort of willowy and handsome, and you're short and hairy.
Hello, I'm Adam Buxton.
Hey, I'm Joe Cornish, and I'm lying down.
And you are watching NME Friends Like These.
When did we first meet, Adam?
I think we first met at school in central London, Westminster School for Arrogant Young Men, aged around 13, I think. And my first memory of you is an English class and being told by my friend Patrick that you wrote the best short stories in English. But he also described you as a smart ass.
How very rude.
You did have a very smart ass, though.
It's very smart. It's like not in the sense of spick and span, but electronically smart. Like a smartphone. It was able to predict the weather, and you could check your stocks and shares by looking at my buttocks.
And it's possible to pair with your buttocks very easily.
Yeah, absolutely. Always available for a Bluetooth connection, or just shove your USB in there.
Now, what are our earliest memories of each other? Well, we'll tell you.
Well, I remember Adam used to carry a very big briefcase, right? Not a satchel. Yeah. It was one of those Samsonite reinforced, sort of as if he was carrying nuclear codes around. He had a very glossy wedge that was a bit like a sort of a helmet.
Hair.
Hair, yes, wedgy hair. And he was very smart and businesslike, and that's what attracted me to him as a friend.
Yeah, I looked as if I was someone who knew that there was business to be done, and I was going to absolutely do the heck out of it. And I had 2 combination locks on my Samsonite briefcase, and there needed to be that level of security because inside I had quite a few pens and a calculator, scientific calculator, because I just love science and I'm always wanting to find out what the cosine of things is. My memories of Joe, meanwhile, were that, well, first of all, I'm very superficial, so I like what people look like. And I liked Joe's look. He was tall. I like tall people. I'm attracted to tall people. Talk to my therapist about what that means. And what else?
Nothing else.
That was it, really. Just tall, nice haircut.
Yeah.
And good pointy features. Also, Joe always had good stuff in his satchel. And I remember that one lesson he had the Monty Python Meaning of Life book, full color illustrations, stills from the film, pictures of Mr. Creosote exploding, all his guts everywhere, everyone covered in vomit. And I'd never seen anything like that. So I thought, wow, this is good. And we pored over it before the English lesson began. What do we two do when we are hanging out together?
We tend to talk.
It's mainly talking. There's not too much. That's the main thing that we like to do.
It's changed over the years. When we were at school and we hung out, we would make silly videos, wouldn't we? Or undertake some sort of, amateur showbiz escapade, be it on stage or a film or something. And then when we were at college, we would probably indulge in inebriants and talk about profound things. Then when we were working together, we would talk about work or how annoying the other person was being. We wouldn't talk about that.
We didn't talk about that. We like to keep that unsaid and just get very passive aggressive. Yeah, we mainly talked. I think the thing we talk about most is movies and TV and music to a slightly lesser degree, but those kinds of things. What have you been watching? What did you think of that thing that everyone said was great? That's kind of how we bonded initially. And then that, of course, informed a lot of what we were doing on the Adam and Joe show, was just finding different ways to talk about those things with toys or whatever it might be. So that's our main point of connection, I guess. It's kind of pop culture.
When was the first time we did anything together in public?
My recollection is that, didn't we perform your Melson Squiffy sketch in an English class?
What was that?
You'd written some sort of sketch, maybe before you got to Westminster, maybe at your previous school. And you recycled it, I think, for an English project.
Right.
And we performed it during a class. I think it was you, me, and Omar, maybe. And I just thought, wow, I didn't know you could do this kind of bullshit in English class. This is great. And you had some good puns. It was on the bullshit spectrum, but there was some great material in there, and I thought it was very funny. And I just had never met anyone who'd even tried to write a sketch or a play or anything like that. I thought it was very impressive. Do we have any famous fans? Well, as Adam and Joe, who used to watch, I don't know, we bumped into Ewan McGregor once just after Trainspotting came out, and he had seen the Trainspotting sketch that we made with toys. And that was very exciting to realize that someone famous had seen what we'd done. And a few famous people watched, like, didn't someone from The English Patient watch your English Patient sketch, Joe?
Yeah, Anthony Minghella saw the English Patient sketch we did. The nice thing about, I don't know whether this is the same, but back then when there was no YouTube or anything, and if you had a telly show, even if it was a late night one like ours was, lots of people saw it. And the cool thing was that often people you idolized would suddenly know you existed, like Chris Morris or Jonathan Ross or Graham Linehan, who was, very big with Father Ted at the time. Like, so lots of people we admired, we were able to meet, right? And then there were people often whose work we'd spoofed that, that if our paths crossed with them, they'd say nice things, right? And then weren't there some rumors that some of the stuff we did got into America, and like Spike Jonze saw some of it, or that some of it influenced Jackass and Robot Chicken and stuff like that? Yes, there were rumors. There were those rumors.
I think that there's a strong possibility that I may have told you those rumors because I made them up.
Well, I think
you're
perpetuate them.
You're confusing rumors with wishing.
A lot of our work influenced, lots of very important, more successful things.
Robot Chicken definitely ripped us off, though. Come on. Well, I'll tell you actually one thing. Here's a conspiracy theory about how we might have been ripped off by Robot Chicken. World of Wonder, who were the company that made the Adam and Joe show, or helped us produce it and paid for it, etc. They were based in LA. They still are. And they make lots of crazy, wacky shows. In fact, you can see the Adam and Joe show now by going on Wow Plus TV or something like that, I think it's called. And you can stream all the Adam and Joe shows. It's the best place to see the Adam and Joe show now if you're interested. But back in those days, one of the people that they were working with was Seth Green. He was in a film that they made called Party Monster about the club kids and this guy, Michael Alig, who was a kind of clubbing psychopath. Anyway, Seth Green was hanging out and he was in the World of Wonder universe. And so I think that he might have seen the Adam and Joe show while he was around World of Wonder's offices. I don't know about the chronology, but I'm going to say that he saw some of our toy movies and our Star Wars parodies and ripped them off for Robot Chicken.
I agree. I think that's true. And to think something's true these days is enough to make it true.
Yes. Right? Fake news.
That's a good phrase. What song would we sing if we were doing karaoke? I mean, personally, I really like Under Pressure by David Bowie and Queen. One time I sung it in karaoke and everyone was like, wow, that was really good. And I tend to remember Flattery. Mm-hmm. And so that stuck with me. But it would be a good duet. I could do the Bowie part because you're not really interested in Bowie. And you could do the Freddie Mercury part because you're
sitting around with my brains on the floor. It's like a day never end, but it's all been all right up.
It's the terror of knowing what your
this world is
all about. Hearing a good friend screaming, let me out. You see, I'm very like Bowie, and you're very like Freddie Mercury, because I'm sort of willowy and handsome, and you're short and hairy,
and dead. No, they're both dead, aren't they? But I tell you, I came across a video the other day. I was going through some old home movies, and I found a video of us singing karaoke with bare naked ladies. Do you remember that, Joe? And at the beginning of the 2000s, it must have been, or
with Jonathan and Jane.
Yeah, and well, just Jane actually. Right. But
maybe that's when it was actually.
You were very good. You were singing Thriller with the bare naked ladies guy, and he's a great singer, and I must say you were holding your own.
That's very nice of you to
microphone. I think we had some wild nights when we first went to Los Angeles. When we were guests of Fenton and Randy, who run the production company, who run World of Wonder. And that was one of the great things, even though it was a homemade show and very low budget. They had offices out in Los Angeles, and occasionally they would invite us out there. We'd stay at their house in the Hollywood Hills, and we'd film a few bits and pieces for the show. And then in the evenings, we'd go to sort of weird parties that they'd been invited to. There was one where RuPaul was there.
What about the party we went to for Paper Magazine?
Yeah.
Which was a fashionable pool party. Was it at the Chateau Marmont?
I think so.
And Leonardo DiCaprio was there, fresh off his success in Titanic. And I tried to film Adam sitting as close to him as possible.
I moved very close to him. I mean, it's
right next to him.
When you think about what Sacha Baron Cohen does at the drop of a hat, he would have gone up there and just started snogging him or something. But all I did was, it took me about an hour to gradually shift closer and closer to Leonardo DiCaprio, who was sat there holding court, and we were filming it all with a night vision handycam. And he was surrounded by all these beautiful people who wanted to be close to him. And I just stood there looking like a lemon. I didn't even speak to him or anything. I don't think he even registered that I was there. But that was a wild night.
Hey, is it true that the NME actually, in a way, started our careers? I mean, yours in particular. Is that true?
Well, I suppose that could be true, yes. Because I saw an advert asking for weird, wacky, quirky, other annoying words, home videos for a new Channel 4 program, which was then to be called Box Pops. And this was in 1994. I was at college doing a sculpture degree, and I had been making a few videos as part of my degree, but me and Joe had made lots of videos by that point. And so I sent some of those in, and they were used in the show, which ended up being called Takeover TV. And it was made by World of Wonder, the production company that ended up doing the Adam and Joe show. That's where our relationship with World of Wonder began. And a year or two after that, we started working on the first series of the Adam and Joe show. So yes, it was all, in a way, thanks to that advert in the NME. So Joe, remind me, how did the Adam and Joe show evolve from that first TV job on Takeover TV?
Well, Takeover TV was a sort of public access show where people could send in creative home videos, and lots of famous people sent stuff in, didn't they? Like Edgar Wright and Graham Norton and who else?
Garth Jennings and Lee Francis, who was about to do Bo Selector, and
so there were lots of brilliant people sending stuff in, but they didn't really have enough stuff to fill the shows, isn't that right? And so we ended up having to make extra stuff to try and fill the shows, which is why we ended up doing stuff with soft toys and action figures and stuff, so you couldn't tell it was us. And then I guess we just made so much stuff that the commissioning editor recognized our abilities, and by some incredible miracle offered us our own limited run of 4 shows over Christmas, right?
Yeah, that's right. Christmas 1996. I think the breakthrough thing, which was definitely Joe's idea, I have to admit, was using the toys and using my old collection of Star Wars figures, which my mum had kept in the attic since the 70s when I got hold of them. And that was a real breakthrough moment, because I don't think... Were you thinking of anyone else when you suggested that we do those? Were you had we seen like the Karen Carpenter story, Todd Haynes' thing?
Yes, we had.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely inspired by Todd Haynes, and Todd Haynes saw our stuff because my partner Annabelle was working with him on Velvet Goldmine at the time. Yeah, so he showed Todd our stuff, and Todd really liked it. We got the official Haynes seal of approval.
The Todd nod.
The Todd nod. So yeah, we definitely sort of ripped it off. But as I heard you saying the other day, our stuff was much stupider than anything Todd did. He was more doing, recreations of quite serious things with, specifically Karen Carpenter's life and sad death he did with Barbie dolls. So we did put a teddy bear stroke Star Wars stroke stupidity spin on the thing.
Joe, what are your favorite memories of the Adam and Joe show?
Well, I enjoyed doing that for a living massively. I enjoyed being on telly massively. My favorite time, though, was always once we'd finished it and before it had gone out. Just that feeling that you had the episodes in the bag and that you had the pleasure of watching them go out and the kind of like the work was done. Because I'm essentially quite lazy. And those are the periods of time, those weird fleeting times in life that feel like holidays, when you've actually finished your job and there's a bit of time until the next one and you can just have fun. That's a bad answer, though.
No, that's good. I know what you mean. I always liked that as well, because I couldn't believe that we'd actually made all this stuff. And then I spent ages and ages making tape compilations, on video, of bits and pieces from the shows that we'd done and passing them around. And it still felt like something that we just made ourselves and were showing to our friends. Pre-internet, we didn't really have a strong sense that anyone outside of our group of friends was actually watching it. So yeah, that was very satisfying. I really liked it was fun when we were actually shooting things. When we were talking about what we were going to do and when we were trying to think of ideas, I found that very stressful. But when we were actually out doing stuff like particularly Ken Corder things, making the toy movies, building the sets, just hanging out, listening to music and smoking cigs and staying up late. That was
ciggies.
Ciggies, they were great.
Right. It was mainly smoking cigs was my favorite. I remember there was one cigarette I smoked. It just felt so good.
Yeah.
Hey Adam,
Yo.
Where can I watch all of the Adam and Joe Show series 1 to 4 plus other great content from World of Wonder, the production company that made it?
Oh man, I'm so glad you asked me that question, because I have the answer. You can go to Wow Presents Plus, which is a streaming platform run by World of Wonder. And for as little as £3.49 a month. That's almost nothing. That is nothing. Or you can get the 7-day free trial available to new subscribers. And basically you can watch all 4 series of the Adam and Joe Show there, as well as RuPaul's Drag Race, John Ronson's programs, Secret Rulers of the World.
Really?
All sorts of good stuff. Yeah, man. World of Wonder made great. Odds and sods.